Happy Friday, everybody. I'm Nick Slavic. I'm the proprietor of the Nick Slavic Painting and Restoration Company. I'm also the host of this show, Ask a Painter Live. It's a weekly live Facebook show where I use my 2 decades of experience as a business owner and a craftsperson to answer any of your questions. Couple really cool things coming up in the near future here. I'll be traveling to Rhode Island to go see one of my best friends in the world, Zach Kenny, ZK Painting. All you guys know him. He's the Instagram master. He's the Fine Paints of Europe gloss oil guy. He is actually putting on an insane bit of training over there. Only a few people get an inside look into this. I asked him if I could just come along, tag along for it, give him some feedback on it, things like this. And of course, he's such a good dude. He said, yes, of course. So you guys, I'm going to be doing an Ask a Painter with Zach Kenny, the man, the craftsman, coming up in the near future. I'll also be visiting, for those of you who know, from Facebook, all the cabinet forums, Corey Leister. Not only does she have her own paint brand, her own shop, she is creating a classroom where she's going to be bringing in craftspeople and business owners from all over the country to do series of instructional and learning stuff. And I am going to be there instructing in the very near future in Pennsylvania. So look forward to that. We have a very interesting project coming up. And then I'm going to get to what everybody's kind of waiting for, which is, what do you pay your painters? I got an easy solution. I got a template. Of course, I'll give it to you, all that good stuff. But first, I've not made this public yet, but I will today. Last year, Chris Vole from Mr. Mole's Painting and the Turries, Ryan and Danny Turry of Headwaters Painting, grouped up with the Nick Slavic Painting and Restoration Company. We did an entire estate out in the rural area here around New Prague. We donated all the proceeds. Titan gave us some sprayers and some lunch. Sherwin was there with all the paint and breakfast and lunch as well. And we came together. All 3 companies donated our time, our labor, our people. I mean, for the love of God, Chris Mole drove like 4 hours down from the dang wilderness of Minnesota to participate in this, just so we could all work together. We donated all the proceeds to a local veterans memorial that's going to be built. And this year, I'm happy to say, those 2 painting companies do another project with the Nick Slavic Painting and Restoration Company. We're banding together the triumvirate. We are going to be restoring farm buildings on one of the most beautiful farms you've ever seen. The prototypical Minnesota farm. It's been owned for generations by the same family. The owner is a local priest. He's one of the nicest guys on the planet. We're going to be doing a lot of work out there. We're going to try to do it all in a day if we can, and we're going to donate all the proceeds to Jacob Babcock. And for those of you who don't know, Jacob Babcock is actually a store manager for Sherwin-Williams up here in Minneapolis. I won't belabor the story, but he was being a good Samaritan. He heard some trouble outside his store. He walks outside his store and he gets shot being a good Samaritan. So we're going to donate all the proceeds of this project to him, to his family, to make sure that he's back on his feet. He's upholding all the good things. He's the prototypical decent human being that we always talk about, and it's the least we can do for this. So look forward to that. September 11th, if the weather cooperates, you're going to see lots of live stuff, lots of posts, some of your favorite people, the Turries, their employees, Mr. Mole, all his crazy people from the wilderness up north, and of course all the craftspeople and apprentices from my company and me are going to be there. And Sherwin's back in the whole day. They're supplying a whole bunch of paint and stuff. We can't thank them enough. Couldn't be a better cause. Look forward to that. Now, this show, not going to be a long one. This is a very simple question, a very simple solution. What do you pay your painters? Now, I am, before we get into that, I will take any of your guys' questions as well, too. If you guys have any just weird miscellaneous stuff, what primer, how do you do this, whatever else, I got the whole Google Drive laid out here. I can share anything you guys like. First, I want to talk about what you pay your painters. So some of the most common things that I get asked are, what do you charge for this? What do you pay your people? And as always, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but if I just said, charge this for this or pay this person this, it wouldn't be good advice, because there's a lot of context to it. How's your business doing? What market are you in? What kind of person are you recruiting? Are they decent human beings? Are they experienced painters? Things like that. So what I like to focus on is the theory of how you charge or the theory of how you pay your people and how you come to that conclusion. So you basically take a solution, what I consider to be a tool bag, and you walk up to a problem and you have a selection of tools, or at least you understand the thinking of how to attack this problem, instead of just saying, I have a rivet gun and I'm going to walk up to this fence post and I'm going to fix it with a rivet gun. And that's, if you have a need for a rivet, no better tool. But the problem is, for 96% of the time, it's not going to be useful for you here. So, oh, Lacie, Bolino, how do you estimate materials? I can actually show you something on here too in a bit. I promise I will get to that, but I have to get to the painter pay thing first. Lacie, hold tight. I enjoy talking to you, so we'll get to you here. Anthony Cade, just watch your video about how to fill dents in cabinet doors with. Okay, let's get to this. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to show you guys how I think about painter pay. Now, again, this is not perfect. If you plug in some numbers and something spits out at it, it may not be perfect. You have to give it a sniff test. But I'm going to show you the theory behind this using some industry benchmarks and some simple reasoning like that. This is one of the weirdest things in painting companies. Besides, what do you charge? What do you pay your people? This will at least give you a starting ground for how to approach that. So this is my template. How should I pay an apprentice, a painter, a craftsperson? This works for people who have no idea what they're doing. It works for some people who know a little bit of what they're doing, and also for experienced craftspeople. So here's the scenario. An experienced painter comes to your company and asks for X dollars an hour to be hired. That's one, I mean, we get this all the time. I've been doing this 20 years. I'm the best in the business. I can do everything perfectly. I've ran crews, I'm good. I need $29 an hour in order to join your company. And then as business owners, we're kind of just left there saying, well, I mean, you can show me some pictures of your work, but you pick those pictures, so they're probably going to be good. I'm not going to be surprised by that stuff. I don't know you. I don't know your history. I've not seen any of your work. What do? Do you just say, of course? No, you don't. You have clear deliverables going forward. So basically, what this enters into is the whole thing of, yes, they may be worth 29. They may be worth 49. You don't know that, but you have to start tracking their progress. So here's the deal. When you get somebody in your company, job costing is the thing. You guys know this. This is the year of mastering the basics. Job costing is the bare minimum for all this stuff. Job costing will give you the numbers you need here for this thing. So number one, we're all building on this foundation of when you do a job, track the labor, track the materials, just do it. You may not even know what to use it for yet. Do that. It's going to spit out some useful numbers, and I'm going to show you how here. So again, scenario. An experienced painter comes to you and asks for X dollars an hour. I'm going to walk you through all this stuff here. These are instructions on my template. I'm clicking down these here. You only have to fill in one box in this template. The green box is the wage per hour requested by the painter. Fill this cell in. So right here, what does this person want? You want $29 an hour. Bam. Here's the deal. Lots of numbers get spit out, but if you take time to digest them, it will help. These are a bunch of assumptions that go into this formula. There are 2,000 hours workable a year. Again, we're thinking about a 52-week year. Generally, if you can get somebody to show up for 50 weeks of those, that's a win. There's actually 261 working days per year. You guys have watched my show, you know this. I love all these basic standard things. If you take away the weekends, the federal holidays, the things like that, there's 261 working days per year. If you do 8 hours a workday, charge rate. This is the thing where this is an industry benchmark, $55 of revenue an hour. Not many people do it. A lot of people are very under this, and they don't know that they could go up to 55 for the value they produce. But basically, this is the industry benchmark where a lot of things in the business become much easier to run if you can produce $55 of revenue an hour. It'll take care of materials, it'll take care of labor, but most of all, it'll leave you enough cushion so that you can run the overhead of the business too. But again, that relies on your financial wisdom and stuff too. Now here's the deal. This person says they want $29 an hour. They're asking for $58,000 a year. That's a lot of money. Industry standard is about 40% for labor. Again, this is going to change. This is going to vary. If you're in San Francisco, it's going to be higher than Nebraska, give or take. But again, we have to start somewhere. 40% is a industry standard sort of, this is how much in your company of revenue labor should be a portion of. So if we input that in, this painter's asking for $58,000 a year. What we don't want to say is, hell no, get out of here. What you want to say is, okay, interesting. I like that. I hope you produce that. but we need to track it. So now what we're going to do is saying, okay, based on that 40% mark and the $55 an hour, you're going to have to produce $145,000 of revenue for this company a year in order to justify your wage. At $55 an hour, a standard employee should produce between, $100,000 to $110,000 of revenue per hour for you. That means, and again, that's a big number. You may think, well, how in the heck is that even possible? They need to produce $556 of revenue for your business. And that's not profit. That's not stuff after you've taken, stuff away. This is revenue produced. If you charge $556 for a job, they go out there, complete it in a day, congratulations. They have produced $556 of revenue for the company. Now, you may say, well, geez, I don't even know what that means. By the hour, you can even get more granular. They need to produce $69 of revenue an hour for your company in order to justify that wage. Now, some people, you may need them a lot. Some people may do extra things to your business. They may be a morale booster, a trainer, and they may justify a different wage. This is not a one-size-fits-all thing. But if you want to have a discussion with an employee, they come to you, and this is the next scenario. If an employee comes to you and says, I want $2 more an hour, then you can actually say, we've all been in this scenario before. I've been here X amount of months. I've been here X amount of years. I feel like I deserve $1 an hour more, $2 an hour more, $3 an hour more. Most of the time as business owners, when you don't track their production rates or you have any metrics to go on, it's sort of like, I don't know, do they deserve it? Yes, no, are they going to leave? Are they going to stay? And it's not really everybody approaches it from, I think I deserve this. I think I can give it to you. And sometimes we do it, sometimes we don't. We never really get at anything. I believe humans operate best when there's clear deliverables from both sides. This template does that. You can say, good. So let's see what we're doing here. An employee is making $15 an hour. That means they only have to basically produce $75,000 of revenue a year in order to keep their wage at about 40%. If they come to you and say, listen, they need to basically produce about $287 of revenue a day. Now, if they come to you and say, I want $17 an hour raise because I'm really good at this, you say, okay, you have made $287 a day for me now. Now, let's put this to 17. Oh, pretty easy. You need to make about $50 more a day for this company, and you get this. So what you can say as a owner is saying, let's do 3 months. I'm going to track all your production, all your jobs for 3 months. If you can produce on average $326 a day instead of $278, I will give you that $2 an hour raise. That way, clear deliverable from you, $2 an hour, clear deliverable from them, $50 more an hour. You see how this stuff works? So again, you're not saying you must pay a person with 6 months X wage. This is saying, good, I hope all of my craftspeople make $91 an hour. Pretty easy. All you got to do is get out there and make $455,000 for the company. It's a lot. It's a little bit unreasonable, but it's always possible. Let's talk about $50 an hour. You could potentially pay a painter $100,000 a year. We are set up for this in our company. For somebody who excels at this, for somebody who devotes their life to this, as a craftsperson in my company, under my tutelage, they can make 6 figures easily. There's examples all the time. Once every month or so, I get in the field, I do one of our projects, I use our standard operating procedures, I use all our tools, I in fact use their tools, I go in the shop, I rummage around and grab their stuff, go do it, and regularly I can make about $100 to $120 of revenue an hour out there in the field. Again, that's, if I did that every day consistently for 261 days, I could be paid $100,000 as a painter in this company. So again, if you want a thought experiment with people, if somebody comes to you and says, listen, I have a corporate sales job right now, I'm making $75,000 a year. Let's go. Oops. So let's say I'm making $75,000 a year. I'm thinking about getting into the trades because it's going to be way more rewarding, way more satisfying. We say, good, if you need to replicate that wage, we need you to produce about $185,000 a year for the company, or about $89 of revenue an hour. And if you've done your job costing, the template I shared with you and things, it'll actually spit that number out to you. So again, scenarios. Somebody you don't know comes to the company and says, I want X amount to work for you. Or you have a current employee that says, I want to make this much more. Now you can have the clear deliverable. The worst case scenario, as trades business owners, we cannot rely on all our craftspeople, apprentices, employees to make all this up, to have clear deliverables and this and that. They need to focus on the craft. As business owners and entrepreneurs, we need to take a strong hand. We need to lead these companies, and we need to say, listen, clear deliverables. You're asking for $2 an hour. No more clear deliverable from me, $2 more an hour. You need to ask them for a clear deliverable, not because you're greedy, not because you just say, okay, well, tit for tat, I'm gonna need something too. Humans operate better when you do this, you get this. And in that path, there's a clear way to win or lose that everybody agrees on. The worst thing that can happen is an employee says, I want $5 more an hour, and you say, we'll see how this next 3 months go. And then they do 3 months, and if they don't know if they did good or bad, and you say yes or no to that, they may be completely unsatisfied with it. They may feel that they're doing really good. You may feel that they're doing really bad, but until you have numbers to put it, all that stuff's useless. So again, let's go to, we'll just put that there. Okay, how to use this template, basically. Now, the second part is an employee comes to you and says, hey, listen, I'm doing these projects really well. What would be my equivalent wage for X? Or if I did this project in this amount of time consistently, what could you pay me? Here's a little example. We're gonna use a micro project. So we're gonna say the cost to do a bedroom, maybe $400, repaint the walls in a 15 by 15 bedroom. So in this template, you only fill out 2 things here. Fill this yellow cells to find out how much your painter could make. And this is something for the painters too. If you ever want to figure out how much you could possibly make in a business, you could fill this out. But you got to do it every day. This isn't, I did this once, now I want this for the rest of the year. True craftspeople consistently replicate their work every single day. You may have a good day, you may have a bad day, but your bad days are still better than almost every other craftsperson's good days. So keep that in mind. This is not a one-time thing. $400 to paint the walls in a bedroom. 15% materials, it automatically kicks out about $60 worth of that. Hours to complete. So again, the standard bedroom repaint is a sort of commodity in our trade. There's not many other things. If you take the exteriors of houses, they're all over the place. Then you throw in condition, it's all over the place. Think about this. How about if an employee, business owners, this is for you. How about an employee comes to you and says, you know what? I think in 3 months, I want to be going from $15 to $20 an hour. How's that work? You can come here and say, okay, let's figure this out. If you can paint a bedroom, start to finish, in 6 hours, the template will spit out $23 an hour. So you can tell them, listen, I got a challenge for you. 15 by 15 bedroom. I'm going to give you 2 weeks worth of these bedrooms. I'm going to just line up a job where you get bedrooms, bathrooms, the equivalent to these things. If you can get each room done in 6 hours, no callbacks, make the client happy, no other weird stuff going on, I could potentially pay you $23 an hour if you did that forever. I like to extrapolate this over a longer period of time. We do quarterly reviews in my business. So I like to give people a challenge when they come and say, you know, I want to raise. I say, okay, I got it. Like, here's the thing. We can do that for you. If they've already proven they can do it, give it to them. If not, if you're sort of on the fence or if they need some more training, say, all right, 3 months, here we go. How about I give you that challenge. In the end of 3 months, I'm going to test you. I'm going to find a bedroom for you. If you can do that bedroom in 6 hours or even 7 hours, I can pay you $20 an hour. So practice up over the next 3 months. At the end of that, we're going to test you. If you complete that to my standard, no callbacks, 7 hours, we have a deal? Yes or no? All right, then go forth and train, get your experience in. So in this template, I also included some industry benchmarks. So to show you where I got some of these numbers from, you know, the $55 of revenue an hour, the 40% labor, things like that for people who are interested. But basically, that's it. So let's see. Oh, yes, we got questions too, and I was going to share some stuff. So Anthony, Lacie, thanks for, oh, Dominic, man, love watching this guy's work. Again, I say it every time. If you're not following Dominic Crowley, you're wasting a lot of time. Go to Instagram, go to Facebook, follow Dominic. He does amazing work. I wish I could touch the things that he touches over in Ireland. Lacie, Yep, that experienced painters, I get you. Okay, here we go. A good question. And again, guys, I will share this with you, nick@nickslavic.com. As always, I want everybody to succeed. I want this whole industry to change. I want us to attract the brightest minds, the best people, and be able to pay them more than anywhere else they can go. And above all else, I want craftspeople to know that this isn't a $19 an hour job. You can make 6 figures as a craftsperson in this company, even working for somebody else. It's going to take a lot of work on your part. It's going to take a devotion of your life to this craft, but it's possible. And that's the big thing. Lacie, I started analyzing our, oh wait, I think, do you want to make sure? Oh, sorry, I missed one up here from Lacie. All right. Any questions you guys have? I'm going to stay at the helm here for a little while and answer them if you like. How do you estimate materials and spread rates? All right, let's see, Lacie, if I can get you something here. I'm going to stop sharing that window and I'm going to bring up 30 seconds. I can have something for you guys here. I'm looking for all my things, my templates. Let's see. Just a second. I can tell you verbally, but I like showing. So, all right, it'll take technology to catch up just a little bit here. All right, I am going to bring this up. Give me just a second. Sorry, guys, I know how clunky this is here. Yeah, it is a beautiful, beautiful week here. Our painters have been out there doing the Lord's work. It's been hot, 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 hot. It's been good. Okay, here we go. The Slavic house, my own house. I am going to share my screen with you. All right, sorry guys, I know this is clunky, but it's important to share to show you guys what we're talking about here. Okay. So you can see this. Let me zoom in a little bit here. I'll show you exactly how we figure this out. And all these things tie together. So, all right, let's get it. All right, there we go. So this is my own house here. I'm gonna show you how I come up with ordering materials. There's 2 ways to kind of do this. You paint a house and you get a spread rate. Now, spread rate is the toughest thing because most gallons of paint will say they cover 400 square feet. Not true. Also, you got to take into account 2 coats as well. So basically what you can do, quick and easy, Lacie, is generally speaking, industry standard, 15% of revenue comes from materials. So if you have a $1,000 job, you basically say, okay, typically on average, this is going to take 150 bucks worth of paint. What's your price for paint? Okay, so we're probably going to have 4 gallons, 5 gallons of something in there, give or take. Now, what you can actually do is go, so for the exterior of my house, because I exterior paint a little thicker, the industry benchmark is 15%. I actually use 23.5% of my $5,200 for the outside of my house. I purchased 30 gallons of paint, and I think I ended up using about 29, give or take. So what I did was I took the outside of my house, I did all the takeoffs from it, and basically there is siding and trim about 2920 square feet on the outside. So I got, if you divide that, and then by 2 coats, basically my spread rate was about 97 square feet a gallon. And this was Sherwin-Williams Rain Refresh, insanely good stuff, goes on nice and thick. So basically, you can take that and say, okay, every time now where I use a Sherwin Rain Refresh or Duration or Exterior Emerald, we're basically going to get 97 square feet out of the gallon. Now, the good thing is, Lacie, if you're still unsure or if your spread rates are all over the place, some buildings it's 200, some it's 97, give or take, what you can do is a sneaky little thing too, which is called the double order. So get as much paint as you know will at least get you a coat, maybe a coat and a half, and you can always put in another order later on in the job so that you're not ordering a bunch of stuff. Now, we have it down to kind of a fairly good science here where we're usually within a gallon or a gallon or two on every job. But if you're still wondering about that stuff, do the double order. Just get enough where you know you're going to get a full coat. And then based on that, you can say, hey, listen, it took 14 and a half gallons for one coat on the Slavic house. Well, good. I need another 15 and we're ready to go. And that'll cover me for the rest of the house. And what you don't want to do is order 50. And especially with paint being 70, 80, 90, $120 a gallon now, you don't want $600 pails of paint laying around doing that stuff. So let's go to the next one here. Right, that one, Dominic, you're the man. Love following you. Lacie talking about experienced painters. Okay, here we go. Good stuff. I started analyzing our close rates and such to determine if our revenue is on target. We are closing over 50%. So per the wisdom of Nick, I know we can raise our rates. Yes, maybe. I want to caution you though, depending on your market, depending on how many jobs you need, is going to determine that. So generally speaking, the numbers that I give out for are usually accurate for about 8 painter companies, even get more accurate at 10, and then after that they're about equivalent. Now, the only thing you have to be careful for is if you're an owner who has 1 or 2 painters and you're closing 50% of your jobs, you are definitely not charging enough. I mean, legitimately, we sat here in the war room and we had painters from all over Minnesota come here for the War Room Master Class 1, and we all shared our jobs with each other. What went well, what went bad, we job costed each other's. And universally, the big takeaway from the day was nobody's charging enough money for what we're doing. We're charging a third of what plumbers charge, a third or a fourth of what electricians charge, things like that, and we're spending more times on jobs. There's a whole bunch of revenue that we're not capturing because we're providing a ton of value. Now, for a one-person painting company, I look back at some of my old records. You can get as little as 10 to 20% of your jobs, but that's all the jobs you need, depending on how many leads come in. You know, as a single person painting company, I'm thinking you could probably do 50 jobs a year, 75 jobs a year. If you do a job a week as a single person painting company, that's maybe a house a week. Maybe you could do up to 100, you do 2, you know, because sometimes you do the 1 bathroom, this or that. If 300 people call you and you get 100 of those, your SR, success ratio or close ratio, is 33%, but technically that's all you need. You may be overwhelmed with that. What I see a lot of single person painting companies, because they undercharge, they're closing 40, 50, 60, 70% of their jobs. They're booking out 2 years in advance. The clients aren't happy. It's to find that happy medium in there. So I would say, definitely, Lacie, you are right. There's room for more there. There's either room for more value or more revenue or both. I would also say you could, I mean, I've seen some examples of single person painting companies where I look at what we charge, and we charge very close to like a market rate. And I do tons of estimates a year. You kind of get the feel for market rate, like what the market will bear because you do so many estimates. I know some single person painters out there who charge, you know, maybe a third or a quarter of what we do, and they do exceptional work. They're just not making any money. And these are the companies that go out of business in a year or two because they don't have enough money at the end to actually buy insurance, pay taxes, and things like that. And it's frustrating when you're doing amazing work out there and you can't support your family with it. So it's a very interesting thing. I love this sort of thought experiment, Lacie. Always happy to talk with you guys later too. So, Brian Santos, the man. Listen, Brian, for those of you who know Brian Santos, he is a high rever. He's in charge of some very interesting things in our industry, and pay attention to Brian Santos. It's great. I'll have to implement this. And again, guys, always happy to share. Anthony Brown. Oh, thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate that. Always a pleasure to learn. Listen, I learn just as much from everybody else as you guys do from me. I was blessed lots and lots of years ago to have people kind of put their arm around me when they shouldn't have and wasted their time, give me a lot of these insights and change the way I think about all this. Again, when I got brought into this industry, there were a couple painters who ran $20 million painting companies who sat down with me for many multiple hours. And what they didn't do is give me their price guide. What they did was they say, Nick, this is how you need to think about this. You're thinking about this wrong. You need to expand a little bit. We talk a lot about this in my company. There's a problem, so we think solution. That's tactical. But what you need to do as a business owner, go a few steps above, 3 more why questions, and ask, what I love is there something we can do, create a system and a process and accountability to actually prevent the problem, make the problem go away, instead of just problem solution. It's raining, so we can't do a deck. The 3-step up one is, why do we do decks? Is it good? Is it worth it, the hassle to do that? Or should we just not do it if it causes a lot of hassle? So think about that sort of thing. Should we move out of state? Should we go somewhere else where the rain is not a problem? Corpus Christi, good luck, guys. I don't know if you're in the path of the hurricane, but good luck down there. Fred, thanks for sharing these, Nick. Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to all those. I love interacting with people via emails here. Yes, we have 3 painters closing 52. Absolutely. I would start with 8 to 10%. You'll probably find that there's no difference. But again, remember, a lot of the public watches this show too. This is not price gouging. We have to provide an overwhelming amount of value. In fact, I'm a believer we have to provide more value to the client than what we're charging. We don't have to double that value, but we have to give them, we have to actually provide value up and above the considered value of the price. So just make sure you guys are always taking care of your clients, because without them, this is a very tough business. Kaylin, anytime, man, always happy. All right, here we go. And again, any question, guys? I'm gonna man the command center here for a little bit if you guys wanna see anything. Okay, so I have a pretty good close rate as well, and we're at 3 painters on my crew, and I'm trying to figure out how to increase revenue and find the happy medium. There's a lot of guys who charge super low and underbid. Please elaborate how you scaled up your business. Yes, number 1, this is a perfect example of you need to change the way you think about this problem. There will always be people who charge less than you. There will always be people who charge more than you. When you get an inside look at some of the large paint manufacturers, you know who we're all talking about. I've seen some statistics that say most accounts, like a painter opens up a trade account, a professional account at a paint company, one of the locals, maybe one of the internationals, and somewhere between 1 and 3 years, they don't exist anymore. That to me is an indication of they're either not doing good work, they don't know how to run a business, or they've priced themselves to go out of business. And this is exactly what I was talking about. They're out there doing the Lord's work, they're creating lots of value for their clients, but yet there's no money left over at the end. And then they get hit with this thing called taxes that they didn't quite know about, and then they go out of business. They weren't priced well. They're doing all the work, just charge for the value you're providing, and you'll have the money left over for insurance and taxes and to be able to train people and things like that. To me, the happy medium thing you talk about is something that I think about a lot. The problem is kind of the 3 things you're playing with here is close ratios, expanding the business, and your happiness are 3 really separate things. Number 1, start with what makes you happy. If the ultimate realization is a monster business, we got 40 people, we got 20 trucks, we got a warehouse, we got a finishing facility. I'm at the helm of this thing where we have people that have work from home jobs. We have production managers, admin, salespeople. That's one thing. You're gonna need to start right now. It takes a lot of years to do that, to lay the groundwork for that. If practicing the craft by yourself is what makes you happy, that's what you have to do, but maximize that. If practicing the craft with a couple apprentices and craft people is what's gonna make you happy, do that. But each one of those comes with a different set of stuff. There's pluses and minuses to every one of them, and I will definitely not stand in front of you and say one is better than the other, because I've had immense satisfaction at every single stage of this, and you could almost argue sometimes working alone is the least stressful way to go through this business. The only problem is you break your knee, your business goes away. So there is that, as long as you know that getting into it. So do not consider the people who charge lower than you. When you hear about people, if you charge $400 for a bedroom and somebody's out there doing any bedroom $100, they're an illegitimate business. They don't know what they're doing. They're unprofessionalized. They may not be on the path that we are yet to professionalization. They just may be out there trying to make money for their family. That's all fine. Maybe they're not there. They're pricing themselves to go out of business in a very short amount of time. So for you, Anthony, who runs a legitimate business, following their pricing guide would be a pretty bad idea. So what I will say is, don't worry about price, worry about value. Get out there and say, you know what? That's fine. And they're not competition. You can look at your homeowner and say, Martha, listen, I know you got a bid for 125, mine's 400. Here's what you get. You don't have to pay anything up front. If you don't like my work, you have 7 days to pay afterwards. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna suggest some colors for you if you like. I'm always happy to do that because I'm the pro. I can't pick it for you, but I can always help you, give you some perspective, maybe some pictures of things I've done. On the day of it, don't touch a thing. You can move some things on your nightstand, you can move a lamp, but I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna move your furniture to the center, we're gonna cover it completely, canvas on the floor, plastic and canvas on all the furniture. I'm gonna tape every inch of your woodwork to keep splatter off. I'm gonna patch all the holes in here. I'm gonna take a high-powered LED, shine that sucker sideways down the wall. I'm gonna find everything, nail pops, cracks, dents, imperfections in the drywall. I'm gonna fix so many of them that when you take my LED away, in natural light, you're not gonna be able to see any flaws in this stuff. I'm gonna apply 2 coats of the best paint we can get. You know Builder's Flat. It's that stuff you touch, it comes off on your finger, you try to wipe it with a rag, it comes off on a rag. That's the devil. I don't like that stuff. I'm here, I'm gonna use Sherwin-Williams Duration Matte. I'm gonna put 2 coats of that on. It says it's 1 coat coverage. I'm gonna put 2 on because I like the way that matte finish looks on the wall. When that's done, I'm gonna de-prep everything, I'm gonna touch it all up, and I'm gonna vacuum. I'm gonna sweep and I'm gonna dust that room. And you know what? I'm gonna move all your furniture back too. The only thing I won't do is hang your pictures on the wall because I don't wanna glue them to the wall while that paint cures. Now, when you consider your 125 where that person cannot give you a schedule, you have to pay up front, you have to provide the paint, they won't help with color, you have to move all the furniture, you have to patch the walls, and you have to clean up after, now you have a choice. There's a value proposition and there's a quality proposition. And the 125 guy is not bad. It's just another option. You need to differentiate yourself in order to provide that value. You don't want the person who would take a $125 bedroom. You want the people who know, listen, I want you to care for my stuff. Trust is everything. This human, Martha, is going to let you into her bedroom all day and trust you with everything in her house. It's all trust. If you can gain the trust, if you can prove the value, you're gonna get more Marthas. That's the market you wanna be in, and that is a underserved market. I can tell you this, from somebody with 25 painters, employees, roundabouts, give or take, I can employ 2 times as many people as I do and still not meet the demand that's out there for trustworthy contractors. The biggest problem in my business right now is clients screaming at us, when are you gonna get to us? With this many people and a good value proposition and a trustworthy bunch of people who are decent human beings, you're never gonna run out of that work. There is such a need for trustworthy clients out there. It's an amazing thing. So Anthony, I love it. Always happy to continue that discussion with you another time as well. Efren, does 40 include burden? No, Efren, not for this one. This is more of a thought experiment template. This is not like a job costing template. What Efren's talking about is if you hire somebody for $10 an hour, it doesn't just cost you $10 an hour. There's about 6 different things that go in there. You pay a whole bunch of FUTA, SUTA, unemployment, state tax, federal tax, Medicare, I think I said unemployment, but on an industry average, it costs you 25% more than the actual wage to hire somebody. You hire somebody for $20 an hour, it's gonna cost you, what, 25 an hour to actually employ them. So for this one, Efren, wrong side of the thing. For this one, Efren, I'm not taking into account that because this is more of a thought experiment, kind of give or take. The burden is sort of a back end sort of thing, but awesome point that it does not have that. Lacie, Anthony, that's what we ran into as well. So I went through all the data and customer feedback, go to where I dug in the wage rates for our painters, close rates and profit, and that's where we change our marketing plan. Awesome, I love it. I absolutely love it, and this is why we are higher. I love it. Always provide, yeah, Brian, you know better than anybody. Like don't lower yourself to the lowest common denominator. 80% of our trade is single person painters, which is not good or bad, but a large portion of those are unprofessionalized businesses who don't have deep thoughts about this trade. So, you know, if we all believe that number, if a client calls 10 painters for estimates for their bedroom, 80% of them might have the potential to be unprofessionalized, and they may get the idea that, you know, bedrooms should cost $89 and you buy the paint, and we can do better. Now, there's always a market for that. That's not bad. I'm not here to say that those people have to go away or whatever. I just wish they knew that there was something else out there for them. Ah, Travis, thanks so much for sharing knowledge on a weekly basis. Information I receive is invaluable. Oh, listen, man, absolutely. I wish I would have had some of these resources back when I was younger. I've been in the trade 28 years, running my own business for almost 14, and only about 5 years ago was I smart enough to actually reach out to another contractor. So everybody here watching today is in a better situation than I was. Customers don't buy off price alone, maybe. Yeah, so here's the problem. Yes, provide value. The problem is a lot of clients still buy off price. I mean, it is a undeniable thing. Here's the deal. Yesterday, this is a perfect example. I went to go do a drywall estimate for somebody's basement to finish off their basement. You know, we have a drywall crew. They're exceptionally good at their work. We love to keep them busy. I did the estimate, I did it on site, all my metrics, all my stuff, I presented it, I gave them the value proposition about how we clean and this and that, and they said, this is so awesome, Nick. I can't believe you're able to get it instantly. 20 minutes later, I got the email as I drove away that's saying, hey, if we chose you, when could you start? I said, you know, usually within a week we have drywall availability. And then another couple hours later, I sent an email back saying, hey, you know, I'm about to close out the week. What do you think? Is this something we can do for you? And they go, you know what, Nick? I appreciate it, but we went with another contractor. And I just said, hey, you know, I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you so much. May I ask what the deciding choice was? And they say, price. I say, oh, okay, interesting. How far off was I? You know, and I'm just being honest with them. This is a very awkward conversation for me. I don't want to see the other person's estimate, but I do want feedback for this. And they said, you know what, Nick? You were close. You were really close. They were a little bit less than you, maybe 10%, so we're going with them. So again, value doesn't always win either. We could provide more value than just about any drywall contractor I know in the area for these particular projects, but that's not always it. And you know what? That's fine. That's not my decision. They're consumers making an educated choice for themselves and their family. No harm, no foul. But you know what? Try again. It is what it is. You're not going to win them all. What you don't want to do is go back home tonight and say, that's it. I'm having my prices. I got to get some of this work. I can't believe it. You have no idea what that other drywall contractor was bidding on. Maybe he's dead broke and he threw a fire sale price out there. Or maybe he has no idea how to price this. Maybe he's not even a drywall guy and decided, I'm just going to throw a number out there, keep some guys busy doing stuff. We'll figure it out. Don't assume that everybody else knows what they're doing. Eduardo, I'm having trouble to find the right percentage net profit that I need to keep from every job. Is there a big difference if that is more difficult, requires more skills, or to keep? It depends on if you're doing the job yourself or if you're having a bunch of employees do it. So Eduardo, a simple thing is, oh boy, let's see if I can find, let's get rid of this guy. And let's go to, I'm gonna share another one with you guys. I love this stuff. Where's my industry benchmarks? All right, let's do this. All right, so here we go. These are benchmarks. Eduardo, if you're asking, this is for a 10-person painting company. Let me see if I can do, that's kind of small, dang. I will expand this for you guys. So basically, what we're doing here, let me see if I can move this one over here. There we go. Now we're cooking with gas. All right, there we go. 10-person painting company. These numbers are going to look familiar here. 2,000 hours a year. We charge $55 an hour for our work, or would like to produce that. Each painter should make $110,000, 10 painters. So 10 painters, all doing up to industry standard, will get you $1.1 million of revenue per year. If you're at this level, Eduardo, this is your answer right here. Materials are generally 15% of a job, give or take. So in the course of a year, you'll spend $165,000 in paint. Labor, 40%. And I put in field management here. A lot of people don't, but we have production managers and I allocate 5% to that. So basically, Eduardo, globally thinking, you have a job for $100 that you sell. $15 of that on average should go to paint. $40 of that should go towards the labor of the project. And I put in another 5%. If you net all that out, gross profit is what you're talking about. Net profit is after you pay overhead. So gross profit is you made some money on a job, you paid for your paint, you paid for your labor, what's left over? 40% of that job. So if you sell a job for $1,000, at the end of that job, after you pay your labor, after you pay for your paint, you should have 400 bucks left over. That 400 bucks will allow you to pay for the overhead of your company. So this is job costing. This is the foundation of every single business. You combine these benchmarks, you combine them with job costing at that end. Every single job, my two amazing production managers sit down and they job cost. They say, here's the revenue we made on the job. Here's all the paint. We use the actual, we don't take a percentage. These are just estimates that we use to base it on, but they actually add up all the gallons of paint and our price for them, remove that from the revenue. Then they add up the actual hours and the actual wage, plus what Efren said, that burden, and that should net us about 40% on every job if we're doing it right. 40 is a good over-under that I've found when you start getting into this. If you have 40% gross profit or higher on a job, that sets you up for a very profitable business. Net profit at the end of this, if you can make 20% net profit, that's an amazing feat. 10 to 15 is more average. A lot of people operate in single digits, surprisingly. So at the end of it, when everything is paid, everything, the overhead, the paint, the labor, everything is paid for, as a business owner, you hope to get between 15 and 20% left over for your risk that you involve in running a company like this. So Eduardo, I hope this helps. Create and explain the differences in those estimates. Absolutely. Thank you much, Lacie. Thank you so much. Help me out. I will incorporate that more into my conversations with my customers. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I actually have an info sheet that explains a lot of this. So Anthony, Nick at nickslavic.com, I can kind of show you my rundown as well. So absolutely. Thank you much. Anytime, guys. This is so fun. I love doing this stuff. One of these days, I'll get to pick your brain either at PCA conference or your master's class. Yeah, probably the PCA National Convention did get canceled or postponed this year. We're thinking about a online version, but we probably won't be in person. But either way, you guys know, until we can get in big groups again and the master's classes, which are coming up, we're going to be doing small group stuff. You guys can get a hold of me anytime. I'm always happy to help. I love doing this stuff so much. I hope I can make a master class soon. Yep, send that email to me. I don't want to have to dig through these comments, Anthony, and find them later. You email me, Nick at nickslavic.com, and I'll just reply with the stuff. A customer tell me I don't charge enough and that thought I was high. Oh, interesting. Those are two very different things. Wait, did I read that? I just had a customer tell me I don't charge enough, and and you thought you were high. See, here's the problem, man. Data plus feelings. The feeling is you're high. You may not be high. You might be the biggest deal on earth. You may be the biggest deal on earth, and you never know. So you got to get that data to bolster those feelings. Do you put yourself on payroll? Absolutely, yes. So far, we have not put Chad on payroll. My husband owner. And what's the best practice? Yes. I think you might have to be an LLC or an SCorp to do that. Don't quote me on that. I have, for a couple $100 you can get a lawyer to do all that stuff. And then you actually just have yourself on payroll. I have myself on salary and I just get a check from myself. It's the most unsatisfying check you'll ever get because the right hand gives it to the left hand and it's not, you know what I mean? I'm paying myself. So here's the deal. These numbers, this is a perfect example. I'm glad I still have this up here. One of the biggest bits of tomfoolery with financials in our business, and Brian Santos, if you're still watching, I know we've talked about this before. Net profit. You hear some guys on the internet, Business Brush Group, Cabinet Painting Group, I make 40% net profit. I'm killing it. I'm just going like crazy. I don't know what you guys are doing. I'm doing everything perfect. And you ask them for reasons why they do that, and they say, we got systems, we got processes. We're just good at this. That's nothing specific. I know exactly why they have a 40% net profit, because they're not taking out the owner's wages. Look at this. Owner's pay should be give or take 7% of what you guys make. So on $1 million business, owner generally to pass the tax sniff test should maybe be $77,000 here. Watch this. Let's see if my numbers are all good here. If the owner doesn't pay themselves, you have a 27% net profit right there. That would be unbelievable. If there was a $1 million painting company out there that had a 27% true net profit, I would drive to their shop now and go through it with them to try to figure out their secret sauce. This does not happen very often. Most painting companies have no net profit or single-digit net profit. So when somebody comes up to you and says, I have a 50% net profit, they may either be a single-person painting company. That's always possible because the numbers are different. But the next question you always have to ask somebody, what do you pay yourself, and is that included in above the net profit marks? Most people do not do that. So just get yourself on W-2. I have a payroll company that does my payroll. I submitted a void check to get on direct deposit. I said, here's my rate, and I get a check every week. So that's the best way to do it. But it also bolsters you for growth too, because most people say, at the end of the year, hey, I made $40,000 of profit this year. If you didn't pay yourself, you only made $40,000 this year. That's not profit. You created a job for yourself that has a whole bunch of risk, and you're paying yourself $40,000. That is not profit. Owner's pay is different than profit. Owner's pay is physically what you pay yourself to run the business. Because again, if I wasn't here, I would have to pay somebody a lot of money to do this for me. And this is not free. You can't not pay yourself. If you get yourself in W-2, it's already in the books. You're already accounting for it, so that for the day that you do hire somebody to do your job, you've already accounted for it. It's not a crazy number. So I love those discussions though. I love it. Best practice, get somebody to do your payroll and then just tell them to put you in it. Oh, Mike, Danny, happy Friday, man. Always good to see you. Lacie, you're set up. If you have somebody do payroll or you do payroll already, all you got to do is add yourself. Fill out a W-4 and an I-9 just like you make apprentices do and get after it. Brian, absolutely. Brian knows what I'm talking about. Travis Miller, how do you account for equipment and tool purchases? How do they show up in your materials, or do you account for them elsewhere? That, Travis, is not materials for the job, because it's spread out over a long period of time. I mean, my first Titan sprayer I had for 10 years. You're not going to put that in a job. I mean, my God, that's $800 times 500 weeks. Are you going to account $1 for every job for a sprayer? So no, they're capital purchases. That's actually overhead. So this is a simplified overhead here. So you can see on this screen, this is, all right, I got to back up. I got to settle down. I get excited with this stuff. Two kinds of expenses in your business, variable and fixed. Variable is this. You only incur that cost when you have a job, material and labor. If you don't have any painting jobs to do, you don't incur paint cost and you don't incur labor cost unless you're keeping your people busy. Fixed cost down here this is insurance, this is vehicles. You have to pay for this. A shop, whether you have work or not. That's why you got to keep overhead low, because you got to pay for it anyway. Now, to sprayers, it's a capital purchase. You need to record it as an asset for tax purposes. So what you basically do is, under one of these things, this is very simplified, you would have a tools and equipment sort of thing right there. Now, if you're doing this right, honestly, people focus on tape, sundries, and tools and equipment a lot. If you look at most businesses at the end of the year and do an exact profit loss to where all your stuff came from, this is where you should spend your time. Oh, not that one, this one. 40% of all your revenue is going to go towards labor. Don't worry about buying sprayers and tools and all this other stuff. Buy it, moving on. It's a cost of doing business. It's money, but don't focus on that, because in my business, I think it's 1 or 2% versus 40% labor. So if you're a business owner, where do you put your time to save money or make money? You put it in labor. Materials. We only do paint in this. Sundries goes up and down, and it may only add 1 or 2% onto that. So not the biggest thing on earth. People always say, oh, the price of tape, oh, the price of putty. Moving on. Labor is where it's at. Negotiate your prices for paint very strategically. Get those down as much as you can, and moving on. It's all labor. So again, don't account those in your variable. They are a fixed asset. Just buy them, put them in there. You're going to get lots of years of use on them. Don't try to allocate per job. It's just a cost of doing business, if that helps. I hope that helps, Travis. Oh, Dustin, thanks for taking the time to share all your experience. Oh, stop it. You flatter me. Dustin's one of my best friends in the industry, too. If you guys don't follow Dreamscape Painting or Dustin, he does some of the craziest, most beautiful finishes I've ever seen in some of the craziest, most beautiful houses I've ever seen. He's up in Vancouver, and he does things that I wish I could be able to do. So follow Dustin. Take a look at his work. In order to survive and scale, you have to make money. Run your business by the numbers, not by your gut. Yes. Feelings are not the devil, but once you get to a certain point, you got to go data, and then how does it feel? Data plus feelings is my favorite thing, Brian. I need to redo how we do estimates so I can put owner on payroll and still have overhead and PM for the business. you know what? You'll figure it out. You'll figure it out. Just job cost. Job costing will give you the data. It may not tell you exactly what you need, Lacie. You may not know how to wield it as a weapon, but the best thing you guys can do, and I know you're probably doing this already, is just job costing. Just here's the revenue, here's the materials, here's the labor. Let's figure out a gross profit number, and then we start tracking it now. We may not know what it means yet, but it's going to be a trend this way or that. And honestly, you're paying yourself already. You're just not accounting for it. So this isn't extra money you're going to have to pay yourself. It's going to you anyway. So you might as well work it into here so you can track it, give or take. So, all right, everybody, unless the last minute question pops in, I am going to get rid of that. Thank you, guys. I love this stuff more than anything else. I love being in the field. I love going and doing projects for you guys, but this is fun too. Thank you guys so much. I had an awesome show. Joined the PCA, the Painting Contractors Association. Where'd all this stuff come from? It came from people I met in the PCA. It's not a joke. Hockey stick curve. When I was down in the trough here, I was trying to figure things out. Nothing made sense. I was exhausted. I was confused. I felt like I knew what I need to do, but I didn't know what that looked like. I met some people, that $20 million painting company, put their arm around me and said, think about it this way. I did, and here we are. And I hope we have the happiest clients. I hope we have the happiest employees going forward like that. So that's it, guys. Look for the PCA. There are many, many awesome things coming on. There are many, many changes going on. I cannot talk a lot about them now, but please bear with me. This is going to be a fun rest of 2020, and 2021 is going to be a barn burner. So I hope I can get to see all you guys soon in person. And yes, family time, just like Lacie said. All right, guys, have a good day. We'll see you next week.